Good afternoon. My name is Tim Whitney. I work in Westside Safety Department. I wanted to share some information about legalizing your load with the steer axle, drive axle, and the trailer axles. We pulled the truck onto the scale, and we've got just the steer axles on now. And as we look to the screen, it shows 12,280 pounds. And the limit is 12,000 pounds on the steer axle. So to make this legal, we're going to have to move the fifth wheel back about 1 notch. Each notch of the sliding fifth wheel will take about 500 pounds off the front axle if we slide it back. So now we're going to go ahead and we'll pull the drive axles on and see where we stand on the drive axles. We pulled the drive axles onto the scale now, and they're 29,660 pounds. We're allowed up to 34,000 pounds on the drives, so we have plenty of room to slide the fifth wheel back and put an extra 500 pounds on the drive axle. Now we'll go ahead and pull the trailer axles on and see where we stand on those. We have the trailer axles on the scale now, and it's 35,160 pounds, so we're 1,100 pounds over what we can legally have on the trailer axles. The most you can have is 34,000 pounds. The other thing we want to demonstrate here are the numbers on the side of the trailer. 40, 41, 42, and right now you can see that the 40-foot mark is sitting in the center of the last axle of the trailer. As we look at different state bridge laws, this load cannot go to California because we're at 40 foot right now, and that's the requirement. If you're going to go to California, the trailer tires on the last axle has to be 40 foot or less from the kingpin. And if we're going to try to take weight off the trailer axles, we're going to have to slide them back. And that's going to make it even more illegal for California. So if this load does go to California, we're going to have to go back to the shipper, and they're going to have to reload this thing or put a smaller roll on at the end so we can be at 40 foot and still be 34,000 pounds or less. So we're going to go ahead and pull the trailer off the scales, and we're going to slide the tandems to get legal, and then we can discuss what skates we can go in with that setting. And remember, we're also going to slide the fifth wheel back a notch so we can be legal on our steer axle as well. If you recall, we were overweight on our steer axles, and we had plenty of space for weight on our drive axles. So since we're only like 150 pounds over on the steers, we're going to slide the fifth wheel back 1 or 2 notches. Before we attempt to slide the fifth wheel, we want to go ahead and take the pressure off the fifth wheel so it slides easier. So we're going to go ahead and crank the dollies down. And then we're going to go ahead and drop the air out of the air suspension, and then we'll move the fifth wheel. Before we slide the fifth wheel, we want to take the pressure off it. So we're going to go ahead and crank the dollies down like we talked about earlier, and then we're going to reduce the air. We're going to drop the air out of the airbags on the tractor. So we push the button down, and now we're losing the air. And plus we have the button here that we're going to push down, and that's actually releasing the fifth wheel so we can slide it forward and backward. So we went ahead and dropped the air, and Holly has hit the button inside the cab, and it released the notches on the fifth wheel slider, so we'll be able to slide it. We're going to go ahead and pull the tractor ahead just about a half a foot and slide the fifth wheel back a very short distance, just a couple notches. slid it ahead just a couple notches. Harley's going to go ahead and air up the suspension, and I'll crank up the dollies, and then we're going to go back and slide the trailer tandem. We're going to pull the unit ahead and move the tandems back. I'm going to go ahead and pull the lever, and right now we're in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're in a 10th hole. Write that down. And the pins are engaged here, so we can slide it. I'm going to go around the other side and make sure that those pins have released as well. So we've released the pins, and we're going to go ahead and move forward about 5 notches. Count the notches again. We were in the 10th notch, yep, correct? 10th notch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we've went 4 notches. So we're going to go 1 more. I'm going to go ahead and push the knob release arm back in. And now she'll pull ahead just a short distance. It'll snap back in. Now we're going to have her go around and we'll weigh it again. The trailer that we slid the tandems on had a lever that we pulled to release the pins so we could slide the tandems. Many of the trailers don't have the lever, but they have an air release. If you pull the air release out, the pins retract and then you can slide the tandems. After you've slid them, you push the button in and then the pins go back into the frame rails. We slid the 5th wheel back a couple notches, and on our reweigh we're 300 or 400 pounds below the 12,000, so we're legal in any state we go to on the steer axles. So we'll go ahead and reweigh the drive axles and the trailer axles again. We're reweighing the drive axle and we're well below the 34,000 requirement. We're going to go ahead and pull the trailer axle now and see where we stand on that. Again, we were over by 1,200 pounds. If you recall, we were 35,100 pounds on the trailer axles when we scaled it the first time, and we had the last axle on the trailer at the 40-foot mark, so we knew we couldn't go into California. We slid the tandems back 5 notches because it's about 250 pounds per notch, and then we reweighed it and we're at 33,820 pounds. So now we're legal on weight on the trailer axles. But the concern we have now is that there's certain states that we still can't go into. Here's the 41-foot mark. If we want to take this trailer into Maryland, we have to have the 41-foot mark up between the 2 axles. And if we slide the tandems forward, it's going to even put more weight on it. So if we're going to go to Maryland, we're going to have to slide the tandems again. Most of the other states we're going to be legal for.